Before the Minamoto clan, there was always a threat to Japan from China. The emperor could no longer protect Japan, so the Minamoto clan seized power from the emperor. Before the Minamoto took power, there was evidence that the imperial rule was becoming weaker, and many of the clans thought that the emperor was no longer able to protect Japan from the ever-present threat of an invasion from China. Japan is a land with few natural resources. Comparatively, little of its land can be seen as arable. As such, land which could be farmed became extremely valuable, and the clans, led by warlords, fought over control of this farming land. The soldiers were known as samurai, and they swore loyalty to the warlord. In Japan at the time, it was a crime for anyone who was not a samurai to carry weapons. This was punishable by death. The samurai lived by a strict military code called the Code of Bushido. This code of behavior included death before surrender. Any warlord seeking power would need to have control over a very significant number of samurai. The Minamoto period began a time of feudalism. The feudal period is in many ways similar to European feudalism. Warlords, who were head of the clans, required the support of lesser warlords, daimyo, and they rewarded them with fiefs of their own. This is very similar to William the Conqueror, rewarding his supporters with land in England after the Norman conquest. Minamoto no Yoritomo, after taking power, established a new government in Kamakura. He called this government Bakufu. The emperor, however, had given him the high military Seitai shogun. This government was come to be known as a shogunate. After seizing power, Minamoto no Yoritomo took control of estates of central and western Japan. He appointed stewards for the estates and constables for the provinces. It should be understood that while the Kamakura shogunate was very powerful, it did not totally control Japan. Strong resistance to the power of the shogun continued. A war conducted against the northern Fujiwara clan showed that neither the north nor the west could be brought under complete military control by the shogun. In 1189, the northern Fujiwara clan was defeated. This brought to an end the 100-year prosperity of the north. Minamoto no Yoritomo was unable to completely dominate his own family members. Yoritomo, although eliminating most serious challenges to his authority, was never completely able to stop the disputing. Yoritomo died suddenly in 1199 and was succeeded by his son, Minamoto no Yorii. He was not the ruthless fighter that his father was, and was unable to control the eastern warrior families. By the 13th century, the Hojo clan took the position as a regent for the shogun. This effectively marginalized the Minamoto shogun, making him a powerless figurehead. This in turn led to the Jokyo War between the Emperor Go-Toba and the second Hojo regent, Yoshitoki. The emperor's forces were no match for the Hojo forces, and the imperial court was brought under the direct control of the shogunate. The shogun appointed new constables who were given greater civil powers, and the imperial court could only act on Kamakura's approval. In 1225, the third regent Hojo Yasutoki established the Council of State, which gave the opportunity for other military lords to exercise judicial and legislative authority. In 1232, Japan's first military code of law, Gosabai Shikimoku, was implemented. This code was to be replaced by the 500-year-old Confucian principles. The Mongol Kublai Khan in 1274 and later in 1281 tried to conquer Japan after defeating Korea. These wars are seen as the beginning of early modern warfare with new technology in hand-thrown bombs which can be linked to grenades. The Mongol invasion has great significance to Japan. The Japanese samurai celebrated this victory, and it remained significant up until the end of World War II. Although a typhoon certainly helped destroy many Mongol ships, small, quicker, and more agile Japanese boats were quickly able to defeat what remained of the Mongol fleet. The Japanese believed they would never be defeated or successfully invaded, and it took 2 atomic bombs in 1945 to convince them otherwise. This was followed by a peace treaty and trade agreements with China. The rise of the Minamoto clan occurred at a time of great insecurity and uncertainty. The Minamoto period attempted to give a degree of predictability and security to Japan. The Mongol, Kublai Khan, in 1274 and later in 1281 tried to conquer Japan after defeating Korea. These wars are seen as the beginning of early modern warfare with new technology in hand-thrown bombs which can be linked to grenades. The Mongol invasion has great significance to Japan. The Japanese samurai celebrated this victory and it remained significant up until the end of World War II. Although a typhoon certainly helped destroy many Mongol ships, small, quicker, and more agile Japanese boats were quickly able to defeat what remained of the Mongol fleet. The Japanese believed that they would never be defeated or successfully invaded, and it took 2 atomic bombs in 1945 to convince them otherwise. This was followed by a peace treaty and trade agreements with China.